whole time.
Hi, and welcome to Performers on Performing. I'm Aaron Tornberg, and I'm here with BryanBielanski, and we are going to talk about some music, as we always do here on Performers on Performing. We're also going to talk about Bryan being a traveling musician, which is something we don't always talk about on the show, so it's kind of a new thing. Bryan's traveled extensively. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and we'll just get started. Bryan, how are you doing?
Hey, Aaron, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I'm glad you're here.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. And so, first of all, you're from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
But that is far from the only place you've been. It sounds like you travel a lot. Could you tell us how you got into that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, I've performed in 49 of the 50 states and 25 countries abroad. And I got started as, earlier when I was doing music, I was playing shows on the weekends around Charlotte and then, branched out to the, surrounding states like Virginia and South Carolina. And then things just kept getting, bigger and bigger until basically it was like, well, either go all in on this or, do the working a 9 to 5 and, existing on zero sleep all the time.
Right. So, see, I've never even tried to go to another country, really. I mean, I lived in Canada for a while, so I played in Canada. But other than that, like going to another country just to tour, I know a bunch of musicians have done it. I've heard of people doing it in like England and the British Isles, but you go to places where they don't speak English as a first language. So I was curious how you get into that. Like they don't speak English, so how do you book a gig, for example, at a country that doesn't speak English?
Well, I found actually a lot of people in a lot of other countries have English as a second language, so that helps. And these days, Google Translate actually works really well. So between my using it and the venues using it in other countries, that's worked out really good for me. As far as like my day-to-day interactions with people, I always try to learn the basics. I write myself some little cheat sheets, whatever country I'm in, and use that. And I like to speak. Even though I sing in English, when I'm speaking to the audience in between songs, I learn enough to say hello, I'm from U.S. This song is from this album, and it seemed like the folks in Europe this year really appreciated that I took the time to do it. And it was really fun learning a little bit of every language. Polish was definitely the trickiest for me to get.
Yeah. So you went to Poland. What was it like going to Poland, for example, because it is so hard to communicate, like it's very different culture. So what kind of places did you play? How did you get that?
So I one place was a music venue right in downtown, and the other place I performed was a college. So those two shows, and like I said, I mean pretty much everybody speaks. Almost everyone spoke English. The folks I encountered that didn't, I knew enough Polish to get by with what I needed to do. Like I said, speaking, in between songs, doing the Polish. Of course, I know I was like horribly like mispronouncing a lot of the words, but most of the folks were like, "We're just we appreciate you took the time to try to learn."
That's great.
Indeed.
So when you book those shows, what's it like? You get to the country. And do they help you with the booking of the hotels or staying somewhere? Or how does that happen?
Well, surprisingly, in Europe, a lot of venues do offer accommodations. Like they'll have bunks right in the venue. So luckily, a lot of places were like that. A few places did, buy hotels for me. So they were really great and very, very hospitable and very aware of, me being a traveler. That a bed was very much appreciated. But the nights where that's not set up, I mean, I never ask for that or make it part of like I'm not playing here unless you get me a hotel. So most nights I was sleeping in my rental car over there in Europe, and that's usually what I do here in the U.S. too. I mean, I think maybe with the exception of 2 or 3 nights a month, I'm always sleeping in my car, which is great because it's a security thing too. I know no one's gonna, there's gonna be no burglary if I'm in there sleeping.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, you what kind of car do you have?
It is a hybrid Toyota Corolla.
So you have a hybrid Toyota Corolla with. So let's go over the packing list. So you have a guitar.
Yep.
How many?
I have 2 guitars in the car.
2. Okay, so 2 guitars.
I have 2 big Tupperware containers full of merchandise, T-shirts, stickers, CDs. I've got a small PA system, a couple speakers, and a small monitor. And then I've got all my clothes and, some snacks and, my toothbrush and things like that. And I get it all to fit in there. I played Tetris as a kid, so
All right, good. But when you sleep on the front.
So I lean the driver's seat back as far back as it goes, and I just sleep like that. I can I'm short enough so that I can pretty much almost laid flat. So it. And honestly, I sleep so good in the car, and stay so busy on the road that I sleep really well at the end of the day.
So it's an adventure. That's good.
It totally is. It is. Some days it feels more like an adventure movie than like a music tour, but that's part of the fun.
Well, we haven't heard you play yet. Why don't you play one of your songs?
All right, great. Well, first off, I'll play a song from my last album, Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 3. This is one people like a lot. It's called Rock the Library, and it's a song about how I hang out in the libraries all day before my shows because it's a free place to hang out and work on stuff.
Okay.
Well, honey, I know what you need. I like to write, you like to read. I really like the way you look. Are you gonna check out my library book? Cause I'm your host with the most rockin' libraries, coast to coast on I-10, I-20, I-30, 40, I-50, I-60, I-70, 80. I love you, baby, don't mean maybe. You're hotter than mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm your host, A-OK, rockin' libraries, USA. Yeah, you look so cute in your glasses, studying for college classes. No fails, only passes, sweeter than Alabama molasses. I'm your host with the most rockin' libraries, coast to coast on I-10, I-20, I-30, 40, I-50, I-60, I-70, 80. I love you, baby, don't mean maybe. You're hotter than mashed potatoes and gravy. And I'm your host, A-OK, rockin' libraries, USA, yeah. Rock, rock, rock the library. 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 I'm your host, A-OK, rockin' libraries, USA. Let's rock. Yeah, honey, I know what I need. I like a girl that likes to read. Come on, baby, I'm no fool. I know that the library's cool, and I'm your host with the most rockin' libraries, coast to coast, yeah. Rock, rock, rock the library. 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 I'm your host, A-OK, rockin' libraries, USA.
All right. That sounded great.
Thank you very much.
So, what are you doing? You're going to be here. you're going to be here tonight, and then we're going to go over to do another show right after this.
Yes.
Over at the bus station in Lawrence, which has a dinner going on. So that's going to be kind of fun. But what do you do when you leave there? Like, you're driving up to Maine, you said?
Oh, yep. So I'm performing. My next show is in Edmundston, New Brunswick, Microbrasserie Atypique in that city. So I'm going to camp on the way. I know I've found some really nice camping spots in Maine from my previous travels through the state. And so, I'll be camping, try to find a suitable place and, get some work done in the outdoors and enjoy the outdoors a little bit too.
Okay. So you got started, you said, you just started doing states first and touring in states. When did you get started in general, though? Like, did you just, as a kid, just get drawn to this idea of getting on the road and doing stuff? Like, where did that come from?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I started playing guitar as a teenager, and my goal was always to get where I am today, just traveling and playing music. So kind of it took a long while. I played in a band for many years, and it was really hard. I think I had like probably 60 or 70 members total in the band, just because it was really hard finding people that would try to take it seriously, because it's a lot of hard work. I think a lot of people think being a musician is like all fun and games, and there is a lot of it is fun and games, but it's a lot of hard work to plan it all out and organize it. I mean, I guess for the rich superstars, they don't have to. It is all fun and games for them, but so I started playing solo 12 years ago, and I was doing, basically I'd do some tours with my band, and band members would quit halfway through the tours, so I started finishing my tours, band book tours solo, and that's kind of how that came about. I'm like, why don't I just do this? This is a lot easier. Because life on the road can be grueling. It's not for everybody, but I love it. Not doing it is not for me. So
And did you? Who are your inspirations musically? Like, what do you? Who did you look at? Because you mentioned you went down to Mississippi at one point.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I love the the origins of rock and roll, like the 50s and early 60s. To me, that's honestly my favorite time period for music. But I also the bands that got me wanting to play music in the as a teenager was Nirvana and the Beatles, probably equally the two favorites back then. But lately I've just been listening. I listened to a lot of Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Buddy Holly. That kind of stuff has been pretty much what I've been going for lately.
So how did you end up with the 12-string?
Good question. Well, you know what? I break so many strings at my shows. I decided, let me get a 12-string. I'll just like increase the odds there. So now I can break a string and I can keep going. Whereas playing the 6-string, I definitely have to stop and restring. But I've broken up to 3 strings at one show, and you can keep going.
That's one advantage.
Yeah, indeed. And I love the way it gives a fuller sound. I've just always I loved once mentioning the Beatles, playing 12-string, I loved Tom Petty and REM, also some 12-string in their stuff. So definitely an instrument that I've liked in a lot of the musicians that influenced me.
Mm-hmm. So let's hear another song.
All right, sounds good. This next song I'm going to carry on with. It's also from my last album, Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 3, the predecessor to the new one, Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 4. And this song is called Baby, I'm Your Super Mario. Baby, I'm your Super Mario. Oh yeah, you're Super Mario. Give me a try, you won't be sorry, oh. Oh no, you won't be sorry, oh. I'm getting big, I'm getting super, I'm gonna save you from King Koopa. You're gonna be my Princess Peach. The level 8 castle is in my reach. Baby, I'm your Super Mario. Oh yeah, you're Super Mario. You just stay away from Wario. Oh no, don't go with Wario. You're gonna be my Princess Peach. The level 8 castle is in my reach. And all my dreams have come true, except the one where I save you. All my dreams have come true, except the one where I save you. I just wanna be your guy. We'll have a super happy fun time. Baby, I'm your Super Mario. Baby, I'm your Super Mario. Baby, I'm your Super Mario. Baby, I'm your Super Mario now. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
Now the question is, can you play the Mario theme on this game?
Haven't learned that yet. One of these days I'm going to have to
learn it.
put that in the repertoire. Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yep. Yeah. It can't be that hard. Yeah. Or also the da 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 da. Do that.
Yeah, you could just throw that in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'll have to put that on the homework list.
Yeah, that would be good. So, how many albums do you have out?
So I, as a solo artist, I have 4 albums out, and plus an EP of non-album tracks, and yeah, the latest one just came out last month. Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 4. So I am just going to keep trying to promote that album until Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 5 comes out, and then I'll promote that one.
So, when I noticed that on the last song on the album, that's where you get the title. So you want to talk about that song?
Oh, the last song on
on Super Happy Fun Time 4, you had Bryan Super Happy Fun Time was a line in the song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah. Well, my philosophy on that is that what, life is a precious gift, and we should all spend it trying to be positive and appreciating. It's I know it can be very hard, especially when times are tough in the world. But I think the key to leading a meaningful and happy existence is just to look at the finer things in life, and if life has given you lemons, don't just take it in stride. And I feel like attitude's everything in life, and working hard and being positive people can accomplish anything through that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where the Super Happy Fun Time thing comes from. I meet a lot of or I know of a lot of singer-songwriters that like doing a lot more, more introspective stuff. And I do that sometimes too. But I just, I think people, after all the things that are going on in the world, having people take a break from that and just enjoy some nice lighthearted songs that are not, not too heavy lyrically, most of them anyway. I think people are really enjoying that. And they're really resonating and really enjoying just, the happy-go-lucky vibe.
No, that's cool.
Thank you.
So that's the meaning of Super Happy Fun Time.
Yeah, it's just kind of a philosophy in life, to just kind of...
It sounds like a Japanese thing.
Well, and that's where my logo comes from. Well, Asian, but yeah, the yin yang, and I like to just remember, when things go, there's hard times in life. Well, you need the hard times, or you'd never know when the good times started. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I honestly am very interested in a lot of Eastern philosophy. So
okay. So what are some of your favorite experiences when you've been traveling in other countries? Like, so tell me, there's got to have been some weird things that have happened to you.
Oh, tons of them. One day I'm going to probably write a book. Honestly, I love the food. Getting to eat the food and when I'm abroad in other countries, and even in different parts of the United States, getting to try all the different cuisines of lots of different cultures and experiencing a lot of the different cultures and just seeing how people are a little different and things are a little different from place to place. It's a great experience, and I think it's wonderful to get to experience all that and get to meet so many different people, and it's just a lot of wonderful things. But of course, I've had some crazy experiences too. Some things that are, once again, more like an adventure movie than like a rock and roll tour, but that's part of the fun too.
Well, can you give an example?
Cliffhanger, like a literal cliffhanger. There was a time when I was camping and I cut the little tiny mountain dirt road a little too close, and one of the wheels of my vehicle, it was a different vehicle, was hanging off the cliff. So,
Oops.
And that was very frightening. I had to. It took me a long time to find somebody that would come up the mountain to tow me out and yank me back on. After all was said and done, I was like, why didn't I film that? I was so worried about the vehicle falling off the cliff that I was like, darn it, that was the perfect. That would have been a great video, but
There's a lot of movies of that, so yeah.
yeah, cliffhangers. Yeah, so that was probably the most exciting in a scary way, But yeah, basically just getting to meet people and see all the different cultures. That's the real fun part.
Name some of the people you met. Who was your favorite?
Well, just everyone I meet. I mean, people in the audiences, the people I work with at venues. I mean, I've just met so many fantastic people that are really, really kind and generous people that made, because it can be a little scary sometimes going place to place where, countries for the first time I've ever been there. And luckily, most of the people that I encounter, they're very welcoming, and it's just great to know. It restores my faith in humanity when I see how many people have been so kind to me on my travels.
Right. So did you sleep in people's houses too sometimes?
Every once in a while. Most of the time it's the car though. Sometimes people do, offer a place to stay, which, more often than not, depending, if I have a long drive, sometimes I've had to, just be like, well, I have to get driving, to the next city to make it in time for a 6 a.m, interview somewhere. But I've met some people that have been kind enough to help me with that too. People give me food and generous donations. So it's really I'm very fortunate to have run across so many people, and I am so appreciative that people believe in my music enough to where they give me donations, put me up in their house, and all kinds of other ways to support my travels.
So when you travel, it seems like you do make a lot of friends, and you have a lot of good experiences and bad experiences and whatever. But what if you go for weeks at a time? It's got to get tiring. So what do you do? Let's say you get exhausted after, let's say you've been on the road for 6 weeks and you still have 6 more to go or whatever. Mm-hmm. What do you do to take care of yourself? So that do you do something fun?
Well, like we were talking earlier, I'm usually on the road, since live music started back after COVID quarantines. I've been on the road 10 or 11 months a year, and I try to eat healthy. I try to eat a lot of vegetables. I always exercise. I practice the martial art of Tai Chi, which helps kind of level my head, because sometimes managing all the business aspects of being a full-time traveling musician, it gets pretty intense. Mm-hmm. So, luckily, most of the people I encounter are super cool. Every once in a while, there's not, but, doing the Tai Chi, the exercise, the vegetables, it keeps me, I think all that stuff really helps. And yeah, I don't get burned out too often, and when I do, I just, maybe I'll sleep 12 or 14 hours. And whenever I do have the burnout, I'm like, let me sleep 12 hours today. And then that usually cures it, because a lot of times I'll sleep 3 or 4 hours a night for days in a row.
So when you're in a town and, let's say you don't feel like going to the library, what do you do then?
there's no other option. I mean, I must. It's like also I have a gym membership, the Planet Fitness, which is nationwide. So no, I mean, and that's how I get showers on the road. So you always have to go to the gym. You always have to go to the library. I mean, I guess my alternative option would be to just, sleep in the car, which, like I said, sometimes I do when I'm having like a bad week, but luckily that's not too often.
But like, do you go to the museum or things like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes if I have time to work it into my schedule, I do get to, it's very far and few between those, sadly. I mean, it really, it takes a lot of, I put a lot of hours in doing all the organization and reaching out to media to promote my shows, as well as reaching out to venues to book the shows. That is a full-time job in and of itself, alongside the actually performing, recording music, driving from city to city. So, but I have had a chance to see some interesting things on the road over the years. Recently I got to do the natural hot springs in New Mexico, in Europe on trips past. I've seen the Acropolis, Stonehenge. So every once in a while it works out in my schedule to where I have a little bit of time off to where I can squeeze something fun and, vacation-y in, maybe half of a day here and there. But I mean, honestly, it's most of the time nose to the grindstone. But honestly, I like it that way. I mean, it feels great to stay busy, and it feels great to have a purpose, even though spend all that time on something, even though sometimes it gets really really grueling.
Mm-hmm. So, what's your background for school? Did you go to college?
No college. Nope. Just I graduated high school, and then I started playing in the band. And I worked in restaurants, and I said, I'll just work in restaurants until I make it. Thought like a record label was going to sign me back then, because that was back when that actually used to happen to people sometimes. But
did you ever go to Nashville, LA, places like that?
I've performed in those cities, but I never went there to relocate, because it seems like you can get lost in the shuffle. I know people have been signed, but honestly, being famous in that regard, it's never been something that interested me. Being able to just do what I love is more important than any kind of mainstream accolades. I mean, sure, I like to make enough money to where I can fix stuff when it's broken, repairs, keep, vehicle maintenance going. So, I like to, as long as my bills are paid and I'm doing what I love, any of the so-called accolades of being a superstar, that's never anything I was too interested in achieving.
Well, you want to try another song?
Absolutely, sure. I think for this song, I'm going to actually do one from the brand new album, Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 4, the sequel to the last one, Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 3. And I think this is my favorite of the songs on the album. This song is called The Perfect Date. It's gonna be so great. Go on the perfect date to the amusement park. We'll ride roller coasters till it's dark. When you took me to the zoo, that's the day I fell for you. And it feels so right, what a perfect night, so great. The perfect date, it's so great. The perfect date, it's so great. The perfect date with you. Now it's our second date. You better believe I won't be late. I'm coming to your house at 8, and we'll play chess till we checkmate. Tonight's the night, I think I'm ready to ask you to go steady. And it feels so right, what a perfect night, so great. The perfect date, it's so great. The perfect date, it's so great. The perfect date with you. Tonight's the night, I think I'm ready to ask you to go steady. It feels so right, what a perfect night, so great. The perfect day, it's so great. The perfect day, it's so great. The perfect day with you. The perfect day with you. The perfect day with you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aaron.
It was great.
Thank you.
So, what are your plans after you get? You're going to New Brunswick, and then how long are you going to be touring still for this year?
So the tour started back in January 3rd, and the tour will end the day before Thanksgiving, because I always like to take a little bit of time off. Of course, I have another show the day after Thanksgiving. So technically, the day after Thanksgiving will be the official end of the tour. And I'm doing a little bit of regional stuff in Charlotte, but I'm going to stick close to Charlotte for December. I usually like to do that, but I still do a little bit of regional touring. But yeah, a full 11 months this year. So, and
How is your family in Charlotte? Did they get hit with the floods?
thank you very much for asking. So really my only family down in Charlotte is my mom. The rest of my family's in Ohio and Arizona. But luckily she was okay down there, and my place is okay. No damage. But very, very sad about what happened in the West, though. My heart goes out to all the folks that lost a lot, and it's all I can, say is I really feel for those folks and hope that the rebuilding, goes great. Luckily, the community, everybody's, everybody's going all out to help each other. And if I was down there, I'd be out there myself.
Right. Yeah, it's hard when something like that's a horrible disaster. I heard that the roads are all down.
A lot of them are, but going back to what I was saying earlier about just being good to each other, and seeing all the acts of heroism to help people that were affected in so many ways. That really it makes me feel good to know that people care about each other so much, and that there's still a lot of altruistic and great people that are willing to put in the effort to help people in those trying times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you start up again, are you planning to do a tour starting again January?
Yep. So and I've got dates on the calendar next year all the way up to September. I'm doing the U.S. January through May. I've got Europe August through November next year, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do right in the middle there in the June and July before I might have some surprises, somewhere fun in the world that I haven't been to. But that's still in the planning stage right now. Definitely U.S. January through May, and then Europe in the fall next year.
Yeah, are you going to be doing any particular countries?
Well, so as of now on the calendar, I've got shows in Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Austria, Czech Republic, Switzerland, and Poland. So I'm kind of working on it as I go along. Venues in Europe book quite far in advance, so you kind of have to stay a year ahead of the game, whereas a lot of places in the U.S. are more like 6 months or 9 months advance. Right. But that's a tricky. I always say to people trying to plan all the musical tours out, it's like if somebody dumps 8 jigsaw puzzles out on the floor and you got to put the 8 jigsaw puzzles together. Right. That's kind of what it feels like.
All right. Well, thank you for talking tonight, and can you tell us where your social media is, where to find your albums and?
Oh, absolutely, and thank you so much for having me, and you're welcome. And I had a great time talking with you too, Aaron. And to find more information about me, my official website is bryanssuperhappyfuntime.com, and that's Bryan with a Y. And from there's links to everything that you'd ever, anything people like to listen to music on, all the social media platforms. So basically it's just a one-stop shop. And of course, music can be streamed on the website as well, and all kinds of fun, videos, clips from, shows and things like that. So yeah, bryanssuperhappyfuntime.com.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we will have more next time with our performers on performing. Everybody have a great week.